Is Godzilla good, or is he bad? What if I told you he was neither? Throughout the decades, the King of the Monsters has gone through multiple changes in both his appearance and his personality. But even with these numerous versions of the atomic reptile, they all tend to be classified as generally chaotic neutral characters, meaning that Godzilla is not good nor is he bad, but simply an animalistic force that does not actively pursue heroic or villainous deeds. The current mainstream Godzilla, being the MonsterVerse Gman, is a perfect example of this. He doesn't want to purposefully go out and destroy entire cities or take helpless lives. The monster just does what he does. And if destruction and death happen in his wake, then so be it. In Godzilla history, there have been some versions of the icon that were more ruthless than others, but one stands out amidst the others for being truly evil. Residents, happy October. It's time to set the mood here on Dangerville a little. The most evil Godzilla in all of history. Let's get to it. Some would consider the very first Godzilla to be one of the more closer leaning to the dark side Gojis, and for good reason. And while it's not number one on our most evil list, 1954's take on the monster had a clear goal of attacking Japan and symbolized the horrible nature of nuclear weaponry, since this movie came out a decade after the bombs were dropped on Japan. The original Goji was certainly hell-bent on teaching mankind the error of its ways, but its destructive path seemed to be more like a tornado that just so happened to destroy everything in its way, more than it was a devilish creature wanting to see the deaths and suffering of all humans. Some would also consider Shin Godzilla to be leaning towards the evil side. This bizarre take on Godzilla certainly has the look of a demon-like entity, with its beady eyes, disgusting-looking skin, and its sickly figure. And its actions against mankind in its movie can surely be described as evil. But there is one thing holding Shin Godzilla back from being number one on this list. The monster is simply not sentient or intelligent enough to understand what it is truly doing. Shin Godzilla, if attaining its final form, would slowly start to consume the entire planet and maybe even beyond. A topic you can learn more on in this video right here. But it would never really know what it was doing. It simply just did. This makes Shin Godzilla more like a black hole than a devil, and that's why there can only be one true evil Godzilla, and it is Godzilla GMK. Some of you may be relatively new to the long line of Godzilla movies, or you just never have been able to catch Godzilla GMK before. So for a quick recap, here is the rundown on why GMK is the most evil of all Gojis. Godzilla GMK is a demonic entity created by the souls of all those who lost their lives in World War II due to Japan's violent warpath. These restless spirits combined and turned into a physical form, which is GMK's version of Godzilla. Godzilla GMK wanted nothing more than to see Japan destroyed, and for all its people to understand that they must suffer and die for their country's actions in the Great War, no matter if they were innocent or not. GMK was a supernatural being who knew exactly what it was doing, and had only one purpose. You can almost compare GMK Godzilla to that of Jason from the Friday the 13th movies. An undead being with no feelings, placed back in the world to teach those who've done wrong a lesson. This was also one of the more powerful Godzillas, even with it being one of the smaller versions of the character, taking on humanity, Mothra, and even a good guy version of Ghidorah. Which GMK was so powerful, he was able to kill this version of the three-headed monster with only one atomic blast. Relentless, and driven to see Japan and its people obliterated, all with a devious smile and hellish eyes. This take on Godzilla is something of a demon, a servant of darkness. It's easy to see why this take on the King of the Monsters is the only one that truly can be considered evil. With the MonsterVerse being confirmed to be around for another few years at the least, it may be a while before we see another Godzilla who could be considered evil. Of course, unless this new devastating force set to take on both Titan and human life alike in the new Origin movies has anything to say. There are plenty of hints in the Monsterverse that show there could be an evil member of the Goji species lurking somewhere in the Hollow Earth. And maybe this new threat will take some inspiration from Godzilla GMK. But in the meantime, there are plenty of Godzilla fans out there right now creating their own versions of the Gman, and maybe one of them will bring to us all another evil Godzilla. So residents, this has been Jacob. I hope you liked that video, and if you did, feel free to let us know down in the comments, and if you haven't already, stomp that subscribe button and hit the bell to stay notified on when we put out more content. If you want to see more videos like this to where we talk about the more classic Goji, let us know. Thank you all for giving me your time, and I hope you have a good Halloween month. Have some fun, everyone. Be safe. I'll see you in the next one.